Hey guys, it's Bassima, remote work and productivity coach. Welcome back to another training for today. I'm just going to wait a little bit of time to see if anyone's going to hop on for today's training, all about how to stay committed to achieving your goals. So this is a training that I absolutely love. It's something that oftentimes, if we're setting really big goals, can be very difficult to stay committed to because it can feel like it's so far off and impossible to achieve. So today I want to be sharing with you some of my really simple tips that you can start to include within your goal setting routine so that you can really stay committed to any of your long-term goals without feeling like it's super overwhelming. Okay, so let's dive right in. If you're new here, I'm Bassima and I'm a remote work and productivity coach. I'm super excited to have you on today's training. Oftentimes, our trainings are every Tuesday at 12 p.m. GMT plus 3. So if you'd like to just hop on, then it's going to be every Tuesday. So let's dive right into today's training on how you can stay committed to achieving your goals, especially when it comes to the realm of remote work. So let's say you have a full-time job right now and hello. Hi, Arvendra. Hi, Shai. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Okay, awesome. So if you have in mind that you want to set goals in order to start moving into remote work, so you want to work from home, you want to work online, but right now it feels very overwhelming and impossible to achieve, then this training is for you. So say right now you're feeling very unhappy in your full-time job and you want to start moving into remote work, but you don't know how to do so, then today the first thing that you want to focus on is removing as much overwhelm as you can from your goal. And the way that you can do this is, let's say you set your goal and it's a year or 2 years out, and your goal is to leave your job within a year timeline. So when you're looking at this goal that's a year out, it can feel very, very overwhelming and just really far out of reach. So the way that we can do this so the way that we can make this more achievable for you is to focus on setting smaller goals for yourself within the year that would help you work towards that 1 year goal. So say your 1 year goal is to leave your job that's in office so that you can move into remote work. I like to break that into a half-year goal and then a quarterly goal and then a monthly goal. So this way, I know that the stepping stones along the way feel achievable within the resources that I have, whether that's time, money, energy, and the timeline that I'm setting for myself. So some really simple examples here is 1 year from now, you want to leave your job. In 6 months, what's the goal that you can set for yourself that would feel achievable? And so it can be, for example, you want to land a few freelancing gigs or clients, or you want to have had a handful of remote work interviews. So those are goals that you can achieve in 6 months that can help you leave your goal within a year. And then you want to break this down even further because the 6 month goal might still feel overwhelming for you. So what is your 3 month goal? And then here, for example, you can say that you want to have your resume reviewed by a professional and apply to, let's say, 10 remote jobs. Or you want to have landed your first gig on your freelancer profile. So those are goals this is a 3 month goal that you can set for yourself that you know you're going to be very laser focused on for the next 3 months. So we're not going to be focusing on the 1 year goal. We're going to be focusing on the 3 month goal so that it doesn't feel as overwhelming for you. And then from there, we can break this down even further so that it can become even smaller and feel more achievable for us. And we can set a 1 month goal. So your 1 month goal might be like to create a remote work resume for yourself. So starting with that, or it can be just to create a profile on any freelancer website like Fiverr or Upwork and having that as your 1 month goal. So once we've set these smaller goals along the way, it just helps us feel like we have control over our goals and it's within reach, within the timeline that we set for ourselves and the resources that we have, without it feeling so overwhelming. So that's step number one. Really try to break your goals down as much as possible so that your goals feel really manageable and achievable for you, and you're removing as much overwhelm as you can, because that is the number one thing that makes us fall off and feel discouraged and not as committed towards our goals. So that's number one. Number two is can feel much harder, and it's to believe in your goals. So really believe that your goals are possible for yourself. And especially with the longer term ones, it can really be difficult to believe in those because it can feel very out of reach. So what I like to start with, and I recommend that you start with, is to believe in your shorter term goals, because those are oftentimes more realistic, more achievable, so you can believe in those quicker. So one very common question to ask yourself here, if you are struggling with believing in your goals, is to ask yourself, what would happen if you couldn't fail? And really allow yourself to get curious and to explore what the answers would be for yourself so that you can start to believe in yourself, to gain that motivation, and just really be hopeful about your future. Another thing that I really like to turn to in times where I feel like something's very challenging or I'm feeling discouraged is I like to turn to proof. So, any proof that you have in the past where you overcame something very challenging for yourself, you overcame something that you thought was impossible, but you still were able to do it. Those are things that I like to turn to in moments where I feel like I'm feeling like I'm losing commitment. I'm feeling like my goal is so challenging. I like to turn to those moments in my previous experiences where I saw that I still was able to achieve my goals, even when I felt like they were so far fetched. So that's something that I think is extremely helpful. And I definitely recommend you start to implement within your longer term goals and even your shorter term goals so that you can stay on track and really stay committed to your goals. Now, number three is to recommit to your short term goals weekly. So, the reason why I say to do this weekly is so that you don't forget your goals. They don't become these goals that are super unimportant for you, and you stay on track to achieving these short term goals, which eventually will lead you to the longer term goals. So, making sure that you have some time weekly where you can review what your shorter term goals are, and it's just a great way to remind yourself of your priorities and help you reset that motivation if you're starting to feel discouraged. So, a question that I like to turn to is, why is this important for me to achieve? So, if you're feeling like very, very demotivated, feeling like your goal is so out of reach, even your shorter term goals, then just having that recommitment weekly is going to help you feel like you're starting a new leaf. So you're starting on a new page, and it just gives you that chance to recommit to your goals. So if you have any questions so far, feel free to leave them in the comment box, and I'd love to get to them. Anything related to struggling with committing to your goals and anything related to remote work, I'd love to answer your questions. And then the last tip that I have for you that I think is super important is to set up an accountability system. So have something that you can turn to in those moments where you feel like reaching your goal is super challenging, motivation is very low, your discipline is feeling lower, then knowing that you can turn to that accountability system can be super helpful in those moments and help you just continue to take those baby steps towards your short-term goals and your longer-term goals. So this can look like paid accountability, so you can hire a coach, but it can also look like free accountability. So it can look like finding a friend that has similar goals as you, finding someone from any Facebook group or off of Reddit that would be also willing to be your accountability partner so that you guys can check in with each other, whether it be daily or weekly, and just help you continue to have that momentum towards your goals. And it can also look like having a coach. So I often talk about this on my channel. You can go on Reddit, and there's always tons of coaches there that are either in the process of getting certified or are newly certified and are willing to take on free clients temporarily so that they can gain that experience and those testimonials. So that's also something that you can turn to just help you set up an accountability system so that you're always taking this steps towards your short-term goals and your long-term goals, and you're staying committed even when challenges and hurdles come up for you. So these are the 4 steps that I like to turn to, especially if I feel like my goals are out of reach, and they just really help me remove as much overwhelm as possible from my goals. So the one thing to remember here is you're always going to be focusing on your short-term goals that are working towards your long-term goals without any of the overwhelm. So that's the key tip that I can give you if you're feeling like you're consistently making these commitments and then not staying committed for long once you lose motivation. So I hope this was helpful. I'd love to hear any of your feedback down below. As always, I'll leave the link to a free call where you can hop on, schedule a free time with me, and we can explore any remote work options that you're looking to. We can also talk about goal setting if this is something that you're struggling with. So I'll leave that down below. And thank you so much for attending this training. And I look forward to seeing you in next week's live, next Tuesday at 12 p.m. GMT+3. Have a great day. Talk soon.